The hospital corridor was filled with the cold light of morning when everything changed. Nurses hurried past, machines beeped softly in distant rooms, and hope felt painfully fragile in the air. In the middle of that quiet hallway sat a young girl in a wheelchair, staring at the floor as if the world had already given up on her. Her name was Aurora Whitmore, the only daughter of billionaire investor Victor Whitmore. She had everything money could buy: private doctors, the best hospitals, endless treatments. Yet none of it could fix the silence that trapped her world. Aurora had been deaf since birth, and after years of failed therapies, surgeries, and promises that never came true, she had stopped believing anyone could help her anymore. Before we continue this emotional journey, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of compassion, please take a moment to like this video, comment where you're watching from, share it with someone who needs a little hope today, and subscribe to our channel, Midnight Tales. Your support helps us keep sharing stories that touch hearts around the world. Aurora's life had slowly turned into a quiet prison. Her father loved her deeply, but his world of business meetings and endless wealth couldn't fill the empty silence she lived with every day. Expensive tutors had tried to teach her sign language. Specialists had flown in from different countries. New experimental devices had been tested. But each attempt ended the same way, with Aurora's eyes slowly losing their light. The once joyful girl who used to laugh at cartoons and dance to music she could only feel through vibrations had become distant, withdrawn, and tired of hoping. On that particular morning, Aurora had just finished another appointment with a specialist who quietly told Victor something no father ever wants to hear. The treatment options were nearly exhausted. There was nothing more they could promise. Victor nodded with the composure of a powerful man used to controlling situations, but inside he was breaking apart. As Aurora waited in the hallway in her wheelchair, staring blankly ahead, she noticed something unusual. A man in simple blue scrubs was kneeling beside a little boy near the vending machine across the hall. The man looked exhausted, yet patient. He gently wiped the boy's tears and placed a sandwich in his hands. Aurora watched them curiously. The man's name was Marcus Hale, a single father who worked as a hospital janitor during the day while raising his 6-year-old son alone. His wife had passed away years ago, leaving him to juggle work, parenthood, and endless financial struggles. Marcus noticed Aurora watching them. Something about her eyes caught his attention. They weren't just sad. They were empty, as if the world had already disappointed her too many times. He slowly walked over and knelt in front of her wheelchair so they were at eye level. Aurora didn't react much at first. Most people either spoke loudly to her, pitied her, or avoided her completely. But Marcus did something different. He gently tapped his chest, then pointed to himself and slowly signed a simple word. Friend. Aurora blinked. It wasn't perfect sign language, but it was clear enough to understand. Marcus had learned basic signing years earlier because his late wife had a cousin who was deaf. He wasn't an expert, but he knew enough to communicate kindness. Aurora looked at him with cautious curiosity. Marcus smiled warmly and signed again, slowly and carefully. Then he leaned closer and whispered softly, even though he knew she couldn't hear him. I'll help her. Aurora couldn't hear the words, but she saw his lips move. More importantly, she saw something she hadn't seen in a long time: genuine belief. Marcus didn't know who Aurora was. He didn't know she came from one of the richest families in the city. To him, she was just a sad girl who looked like she needed someone to believe in her again. Over the next few days, Marcus would quietly greet Aurora whenever she came to the hospital. He practiced sign language during his breaks by watching free videos online and borrowing books from the public library. Slowly, his signing improved. Instead of expensive medical procedures or complicated treatments, Marcus simply talked to Aurora like she was a normal person. He asked about her favorite colors, her hobbies, the things she used to enjoy before hope started fading. Aurora began to respond. At first it was just small gestures. A nod, a tiny smile, but soon their conversations grew longer. Marcus told her stories about his son Ethan, about the silly things kids say, about the time Ethan tried to cook pancakes and accidentally glued the pan to the stove with burnt batter. Aurora laughed silently, her shoulders shaking, her smile returning little by little. Victor Whitmore noticed the change almost immediately. For months, Aurora had barely reacted to anyone. Yet somehow, This hospital janitor was bringing life back into her eyes. Curious and slightly confused, Victor observed them from a distance one afternoon. Marcus sat on the floor beside Aurora's wheelchair, signing clumsily but enthusiastically while Aurora corrected his hand movements with patient gestures. For the first time in years, Victor saw his daughter smiling. Instead of interrupting them, Victor quietly stepped back. Marcus continued visiting Aurora during his breaks, sometimes bringing small things, coloring books, puzzles, or simple drawings Ethan had made. Aurora started drawing again too. She showed Marcus pictures of oceans, birds, and sunlight pouring through windows. Her world was still silent, but it wasn't empty anymore. Weeks passed, and something remarkable began to happen. Aurora started trying again. Her therapists noticed she was more engaged in her sessions. She practiced lip reading more seriously. She worked harder with her communication exercises. It wasn't because of a new device or groundbreaking surgery. It was because someone had reminded her that she was more than her silence. One afternoon, Victor finally approached Marcus. The billionaire stood awkwardly in front of the humble janitor, unsure how to begin. Marcus looked nervous, assuming he might be in trouble for spending time with a patient. Instead, Victor did something unexpected. He thanked him. Victor explained who Aurora was and how much Marcus had unknowingly helped her. Marcus was shocked. He had no idea the girl he'd been chatting with was the daughter of a billionaire. But to him, that didn't matter. Aurora was simply a kid who needed a friend. That night, Victor went home and thought deeply about something he had forgotten for years. Money could buy the best doctors, but it couldn't buy hope. Marcus had given Aurora something no specialist ever could, someone who believed in her without expecting anything in return. Months later, Aurora's progress surprised everyone. Her confidence returned, her communication improved, and her laughter filled the hospital hallways again. She still couldn't hear the world around her, but she had learned something more powerful. She wasn't alone in it. If this story is touching your heart so far, please like the video, share it with someone who believes in kindness, and subscribe to Midnight Tales. Stories like this remind us how powerful simple compassion can be. Marcus never asked for recognition, but Victor made sure his kindness changed his life too. He offered Marcus a stable job managing community outreach for a foundation dedicated to supporting children with hearing disabilities. Marcus accepted, not for the money, but for the chance to help more kids like Aurora. Years later, Aurora often told people that the day a tired single father knelt beside her wheelchair was the day her life truly began again. Because sometimes, hope doesn't come from wealth, medicine, or miracles. Sometimes, it comes from a simple promise from someone who refuses to let you give up. Before we end, we have a special request for you. Please comment the word hope if you believe one act of kindness can change someone's entire life. And if this story moved your heart even a little, please like, comment, and share this video so more people can hear this message. Because somewhere out there, someone may be waiting for just one person to whisper, "I'll help you."